Welcome back, dear friends and story lovers. Tonight, we bring you a tale where love is tested, secrets come to light, and fate takes an unexpected turn. Every moment will pull you in deeper, and every choice could change everything. Where you're watching from in the comments, and if this story touches your heart, like, subscribe, share it with someone who believes in true love, and hit the bell so you never miss the next chapter. The crystal chandelier cast dancing shadows across the marble floor as Sophia Chen pushed her cleaning cart down the silent hallway of the Grand Meridian Hotel. Her uniform was pressed and spotless, dark hair pulled back in a tight bun, but exhaustion lived behind her brown eyes like an unwelcome tenant. At 22, she had been cleaning these opulent rooms for 8 months. Every dollar saved for her mother's medical bills back home, room 1247 stood empty. Its previous occupant having checked out that morning, Sophia knocked twice out of habit, then used her keycard. A lingering scent of expensive cologne mixed with leather and something darker hit her immediately. She had cleaned enough rooms to recognize the smell of secrets. It's finally done for the night. Elena Rodriguez appeared in the doorway, lipstick fresh and eyes bright with mischief. Come out with us. The girls are hitting that new rooftop bar downtown. Sophia's hand moved instinctively to her apron pocket, where her mother's latest letter waited unopened. I should go home and rest. When was the last time you did something just for you? Elena's voice carried the gentle insistence of true friendship. One drink, Sophia. You deserve to feel young. An hour later, Sophia found herself in Elena's borrowed black dress, her hair falling in soft waves around bare shoulders. The rooftop bar was everything luxury promised to be. Soft jazz, golden lighting, and people who moved with the confidence of those who never counted pennies. Gabriel Whitmore sat alone at the corner of the bar, his expensive suit jacket draped carelessly over his chair. At 28, he carried the weight of an empire he never wanted on shoulders that seemed too broad for the burden. His green eyes scanned the crowd with the practiced disinterest of someone who had seen it all before. Then, she walked in. Not because she was the most striking woman there, though her natural beauty was undeniable, but because of how she moved, careful, genuine, real, in a world of carefully constructed facades. Without deciding to, Gabriel found himself walking toward her table. Hope I'm not interrupting, he said, his voice softer than intended. Could I buy you ladies a drink? Sophia looked up, and their eyes met. The bustling bar seemed to fade into white noise. There was something in his gaze, vulnerability hidden beneath confidence, loneliness masked by charm. That's very kind, she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. I'm Sophia, Gabriel. When their fingers touched during the handshake, both felt something electric pass between them. Elena, ever perceptive, excused herself after 10 minutes of pleasant conversation. Gabriel slid into the empty chair beside Sophia, and they began talking as if they had known each other for years. You don't seem like the typical crowd here, Sophia observed, gesturing subtly at the well-dressed patrons around them. Gabriel smiled ruefully. What gave me away? You look like you'd rather be anywhere else, like you're wearing a costume that doesn't quite fit. Her directness caught him off guard. In his world, conversations were careful dances around truth, political maneuvers disguised as small talk. And you, he asked. What brings you to a place like this? My friend thinks I work too much. She's probably right. Sophia's honesty felt dangerous in the best way. I clean hotel rooms all day, then go home to a tiny apartment and worry about bills. Not exactly glamorous. Gabriel found himself drawn to her openness. What would glamorous look like to you? She considered this seriously. Having enough money that I don't count every dollar? Being able to help my mother without sacrificing my own dreams? She paused, looking slightly embarrassed. Sorry, that probably sounds foolish to someone like you. Someone like me. Your watch costs more than I make in 6 months. Carry yourself like someone who's never wondered if they can afford groceries. Gabriel looked down at the platinum Rolex his father had given him. Money doesn't solve every problem. Sometimes it creates new ones. Sometimes it traps you. There was pain in his voice that made Sophia study his face more carefully. What kind of trap? The kind where every decision is made for you before you're old enough to have an opinion. Where you're supposed to marry someone you don't love because it makes financial sense? The admission hung heavy between them. You're engaged? Sophia felt her heart skip. Not yet, but I will be soon. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Sophia did something that surprised them both. She reached across the table and covered his hand with hers. I'm sorry, that must be lonely. Gabriel stared at their joined hands, feeling something crack open in his chest. When was the last time someone had offered him comfort without wanting something in return? Dance with me, he said suddenly, standing and offering his hand. The small dance floor was crowded. But when Gabriel pulled Sophia into his arms, everyone else disappeared. They moved together naturally, her head fitting perfectly against his shoulder. This is crazy, Sophia whispered against his neck. Completely, Gabriel agreed, his lips brushing her ear. I don't even know your last name. Chen. Sophia Chen. Beautiful name for a beautiful woman. When the song ended, they remained on the dance floor, lost in each other's eyes. The rational part of Sophia's mind reminded her this man was from a different world, that this could only end in heartbreak. But her heart whispered that maybe some fairy tales could come true. Come with me, Gabriel said, his voice rough with emotion. I have a suite upstairs. We can talk, or we can— Yes, Sophia interrupted, decision made before her mind could interfere. As the elevator doors closed behind them, neither could have imagined how completely this single night would unravel both their carefully constructed lives. Gabriel's suite was elegant and spacious, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the glittering city. But neither of them noticed the luxury. The moment the door closed behind them, they were in each other's arms, kissing with the desperate passion of two people who had found something they didn't know they were searching for. Are you sure? Gabriel asked, his forehead pressed against hers. I've never been more sure of anything, Sophia replied, and she meant it. They made love with a tenderness that surprised them both. This wasn't just physical attraction or momentary passion. Gabriel touched her as if she were precious, irreplaceable. Sophia gave herself completely, holding nothing back. Afterward, they lay entwined in silk sheets, talking in whispers about dreams and fears. Gabriel told her about the suffocating pressure to take over Whitmore Industries, about board meetings that bored him to tears. Sophia shared her dreams of opening a small cafe where people could feel welcome and cared for. What if we just ran away? Gabriel asked as dawn crept through the windows, got in my car, and drove until we found some place where nobody knew us. Sophia smiled against his chest. Where would we go? Anywhere? Little house by the ocean. You could have your cafe, and I could learn to do something useful with my hands. That sounds perfect, Sophia murmured sleepily. But morning always comes. Not yet, Gabriel said, tightening his arms around her. Morning did come, and with it the harsh light of reality. Gabriel's phone buzzed incessantly. His father, his assistant, board members expecting him at an early meeting. The magic of the night began to fade as the demands of real life intruded. I have to go, he said reluctantly, kissing her forehead. But this isn't over, Sophia. I'll find you. You don't even know where I live. I'll figure it out. Now this meant something. He kissed her goodbye, long and deep, then he was gone, leaving behind only the lingering scent of cologne and promises that felt too good to be true. 3 weeks passed without word from Gabriel. Sophia told herself not to hope, not to dream. She threw herself into work, cleaning rooms with mechanical precision, while her heart ached with what felt like foolish longing. Then everything changed. Sophia Chen. The voice belonged to a woman in an expensive suit standing in the hotel lobby. I'm Margaret Ashford, Mr. Whitmore's personal assistant. He'd like to see you. Sophia's heart hammered as she was led to a black sedan. 20 minutes later, she stood in the marble foyer of Whitmore Industries, feeling impossibly small beneath soaring ceilings and crystal fixtures. Gabriel's office occupied the entire top floor. When she entered, he was standing at the windows, his back to her. He looked different, in his natural habitat, more powerful, more unreachable. You came, he said without turning around. Your assistant was very persuasive. Gabriel finally faced her, and Sophia's breath caught. He looked tired, haunted. I couldn't stop thinking about you. I tried, but I couldn't. Gabriel, I broke off my engagement. The words hit Sophia like a physical blow. The marriage? My father arranged, I called it off. He moved toward her slowly. I told him I wouldn't marry Victoria Pemberton, that I couldn't marry someone I didn't love. Sophia's mind reeled. Your family must be furious. Devastated. My father said I've brought shame on our name. Destroyed years of careful negotiations. Gabriel reached for her hands. But I don't care. I can't stop thinking about that night, about you. Way, you looked at me like I was just a man, not a bank account or a business merger. This is insane, Sophia whispered. We're from completely different worlds, so we'll create our own world. Gabriel pulled her close, and despite every rationale, thoughts screaming in her head, Sophia melted into his embrace. When he kissed her, she tasted desperation and hope, and something that felt dangerously like forever. There's something you need to know, Gabriel said against her lips. My father, he's not going to just accept this. He'll try to destroy anything. That threatens his plans. Sophia pulled back to study his face. What are you saying? I'm saying that being with me might put you in danger. Richard Whitmore doesn't lose, and he doesn't forgive. The rational part of Sophia's mind told her to run, to escape before she got caught in the crossfire of a family war. But her heart, her foolish heart, had already made its choice. Then we'll have to be careful, she said. Gabriel's smile was worth every risk they were about to take. That night, Gabriel took Sophia to a small, intimate restaurant tucked away in a quiet neighborhood. It was the kind of place she had dreamed of, owning warm lighting, comfortable chairs, the smell of home-cooked meals. This is perfect, she said as they were seated at a corner table. I wanted somewhere we could just be ourselves. No pretense, no performance. They talked for hours, sharing stories from their childhoods, their fears, their dreams. Gabriel spoke about the weight of expectations that had shaped every day of his life. Sophia told him about her father's death when she was 12, how she had watched her mother work 3 jobs to keep them afloat. I used to resent the money, Gabriel confessed. The way it defined everything about my life, but now I'm grateful for it. Why? Because it means I can take care of you. Your mother's medical bills, your apartment, everything. You'll never have to worry about money again. Sophia set down her wine glass carefully. Gabriel, I can't let. You do that? Why not? Because I need to know you want me for who I am, not because I need saving. And I need to know I'm with you because I love you, not because you've solved all my problems. Gabriel reached across the table to take her hand. You're right, I'm sorry. I just want to help, and help me by being patient. Let me keep my job for. Now, let me find my own way to handle my responsibilities. Can you do that, if that's what you want? But as they left the restaurant that night, neither of them noticed the photographer hidden in the shadows across the street, or the telephoto, lens capturing their every move. The photograph was everywhere. Sophia stared at the newspaper in her hands, her face burning with humiliation. The image showed her and Gabriel leaving the restaurant, his arm around her waist, both of them laughing at some private joke. Headline screamed, Billionaire Heirs Chambermaid Affair, inside Gabriel Whitmore's scandalous romance. Oh, honey, Elena whispered, reading over her shoulder in the employee break room. This is bad. The article was worse than the headline. It detailed Sophia's job at the Grand Meridian, her mother's medical debts, even her father's death. They had painted her as a gold digger, a manipulative opportunist who had seduced a wealthy man for financial gain, Miss Chen. Mr. Davidson, the hotel manager, appeared in the doorway. His usually kind face was stern. I need to see you in my office. Sophia's hands shook as she followed him down the hallway. She had worked so hard to build a good reputation here, to be seen as reliable and trustworthy. I'm sure you understand the position this puts us in, Mr. Davidson said, settling behind his desk. The Grand Meridian values discretion above all else. Our guests expect privacy and this kind of publicity. Mr. Davidson, please. That article isn't true. I'm sorry, Sophia. I really am. You're a good worker, but I have to let you go. The words hit her like a physical blow. You're firing me? I'm giving you a week's severance and an excellent reference. But yes, your employment here is terminated effective immediately. Sophia walked out of the hotel in a daze, her few personal belongings in a cardboard box. On the street, a reporter shoved a microphone in her face. "Miss Chen, is it true you seduced Gabriel Whitmore for money? Are you pregnant with his child?" She pushed past them, hailing a taxi with shaking hands. As they pulled away from the curb, her phone rang. Gabriel's name flashed on the screen. "Sophia, where are you?" "I've been trying to reach you all morning. I saw the paper," she said, her voice hollow. "They fired me. Those bastards. I'll buy the hotel and fire the manager myself, don't." Sophia closed her eyes. "Don't you see? This is exactly what they want. For you to use your money and power to solve problems, to make me dependent on you. I don't care what they want. I care about protecting you." "Meet me at my apartment," Sophia said. "We need to talk."
Right.
When Gabriel arrived, Sophia was packing. Her small apartment looked even smaller with boxes scattered around, her life reduced to essentials. "What are you doing?" Gabriel asked. In the scene, "I'm going home. To take care of my mother, Sophia." "No. Don't let them win." She turned to face him, and Gabriel saw something broken in her eyes. "They already have. Look at this." She gestured to the newspapers spread across her coffee table, each one carrying a variation of their story.
Ow, maybe.
"I'm being painted as a whore and a gold digger. My mother will see this. It's my friends back home. Everyone I've ever known. We can fight this. I'll hire the best lawyers, the best publicists." "With what?" Sophia's voice rose. "More money? More power? Don't you see the pattern? Here, Gabriel. Every solution you offer just proves their point." Gabriel moved toward her, but she stepped back. "So, what are you saying?" "I'm saying maybe your father is right. Maybe we are from different worlds, and maybe some bridges can't be crossed. But you don't mean that." Sophia picked up a framed photo from the side table, her and her mother at her high school graduation. Both of them smiling despite their threadbare clothes and uncertain future. "I worked so hard to build something for myself. To be more than just my circumstances. And in one night, one photograph, it's all gone. We can rebuild. No, Gabriel, you can rebuild. You have money and connections and power. I have nothing except what I earn with my own hands, and now even that's been taken away." Gabriel felt panic rising in his chest. "What about us? What about love?" Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "Love isn't always enough. Sometimes the cost is too high. Don't do this, please." She moved to the window, looking out at the street where reporters still lingered. "When you broke your engagement, you said your father would try to destroy anything that threatened his plans. This is him destroying me. Then we fight back. How?" Sophia turned to face him, tears streaming down her cheeks. "How do we fight someone who owns newspapers, who has politicians in his pocket, who can destroy someone's reputation with a phone call? I'm one person, Gabriel. Can't win a war against your family's empire." Gabriel pulled out his phone. "I'll call him right now. I'll make him fix this." "And what will you sacrifice to make him do that? Your inheritance? Your family? Your future?" Sophia shook her head. "I won't be the reason you lose everything. You are everything." The words hung between them like a prayer and a curse. Sophia wanted to believe him, wanted to run into his arms and let him fight all her battles. But she had learned long ago that fairy tales were for people who could afford them. "I need you to go," she said quietly. "Sophia, please, just go." Gabriel stood frozen for a moment, then slowly moved toward the door. He paused with his hand on the knob. "This isn't over. I'll find a way to fix this, to fix us." "Gabriel," Sophia's voice stopped him. "Don't contact me again. It'll only make things worse." She heard the door close behind him, heard his footsteps on the stairs, heard his car start and drive away. Then she collapsed onto her couch and sobbed until she had no tears left. Outside, the reporters were already losing interest, moving on to the next scandal. But for Sophia, the damage was done. By evening, she was on a bus heading home to a small town 300 miles away, carrying nothing but a suitcase and a broken heart. She didn't see Gabriel's car following at a distance. Didn't see him pull over when the bus station came into view. Didn't see him sit in his car for 2 hours after her bus disappeared into the night. his hands gripping the steering wheel as he tried to figure out how to win a war he was only beginning to understand. 6 months had passed since Sophia returned home to Millbrook. She had found work at the local diner, serving coffee and comfort food to farmers and truckers who didn't care about society's scandals. Her mother's condition had stabilized, thanks to a mysterious, anonymous donor who had paid off all her medical debts. Sophia suspected Gabriel, but she had kept her promise and hadn't contacted him. She was wiping down tables after the dinner rush when Alina walked through the door. "Hello, stranger," her former colleague said with a tentative smile. Sophia nearly dropped her rag. "Alina, what are you doing here? Looking for you." "We need to talk." They walked to the small park behind the diner, where autumn leaves crunched beneath their feet. Alina seemed nervous, fidgeting with her purse strap. "How did you find me?" Sophia asked. "It wasn't hard. Small towns don't have many diners." Alina paused. "Sophia, I have something to tell you. Something about that night at the Rooftop bar." A chill ran down Sophia's spine. "What about it?" Alina couldn't meet her eyes. "It wasn't a coincidence that we went there. Gabriel had been coming to the hotel for weeks, asking about you. He knew which shift you worked when you got off. He paid me to bring you to that bar." The words hit Sophia like ice water. "What?" "He gave me $5,000 to be your friend, to convince you to come out that night. He orchestrated the whole thing." Sophia sank onto a nearby bench, her legs suddenly unable to support her. "You're lying." "I wish I was." Alina sat beside her, pulling an envelope from her purse. "He paid me more to deliver this. He said if anything ever happened, if you ever found out about the setup, I should give you this letter." Sophia stared at the envelope as if it were poisonous. Her name was written across it in Gabriel's familiar handwriting. "Why are you telling me this now?" she asked. Alina's voice was barely a whisper. "Because his engagement to Victoria Pemberton was announced in the society pages yesterday. The wedding is set for next month." The world tilted around Sophia. She felt nauseated, betrayed, foolish beyond measure. With shaking hands, she opened the envelope. "Sophia, if you're reading this, then you know the truth about how we met. I won't insult you by asking for forgiveness. What I did was inexcusable. But please believe that everything that happened after that first night was real. I had Alina watch you because I was curious about the woman who cleaned my hotel room with such care, who left little origami flowers from the complimentary stationery. I wanted to meet you, but I knew you'd never give someone like me a chance. Under normal circumstances, I never expected to fall in love with you. By the time you read this, I'll be married to Victoria. It's not what I want, but it's what I must do. My father discovered the truth about us, about how we met. He has evidence of the payments to Alina, proof that our entire relationship was built on deception. He's threatened to destroy not just you, but your mother, your hometown, everyone you've ever cared about, unless I comply with his wishes. I couldn't let him hurt you any more than he already has. I know this makes me a coward. I know you'll hate me and you have every right to. But please know that what we shared was the most real thing in my life. You saw me as a man, not a fortune or a title. And for that brief time, I was who I wanted to be. I've set up a trust fund in your mother's name. She'll never want for anything again, and neither will you if you choose to accept it. I know your pride will make you want to refuse it, but please don't let your anger at me hurt her. I will love you until the day I die." Sophia read the letter twice, then crumpled it in her fist. The rage that filled her was unlike anything she had ever experienced. Pure, white-hot fury that made her want to scream, to break things. To hurt him the way he had hurt her? "He played me," she said, her voice deadly quiet. "From the very beginning, it was all a game." Alina was crying now. "Sophia, I'm so sorry. He swore it would just be one meeting, that if you weren't interested, he'd leave you alone. I never thought get out." Sophia stood up, her whole body trembling with rage. "Get out of my sight!" "Sophia, please, you took money to sell me too? Him like I was a commodity, or my friend, the only person I trusted, and you sold me." Sophia's voice broke. "Get out before I do something we'll both regret." Alina left without another word, leaving Sophia alone in the gathering darkness. She sat on that bench until midnight, staring at the crumpled letter in her hands, feeling something die inside her chest. The next morning, Sophia called in sick to work and drove to the nearest city. She spent the day in the public library, researching everything she could about Gabriel Whitmore and his family's business empire. If he had taught her anything, it was that knowledge was power. She was going to use that knowledge to destroy him. She learned about the Whitmore Industries board meeting scheduled for the week after his wedding, where Gabriel would officially be named CEO. She discovered the company's recent acquisition of several hotels, including a chain that had been accused of labor violations. She found records of political donations, tax shelters, and environmental controversies. But most importantly, she found Victoria Pemberton's private social media accounts. 3 days before the wedding, Sophia sent Victoria a package. Inside was a copy of Gabriel's letter, along with every photo from their night together. Every text message he had sent, every piece of evidence of their relationship. She didn't expect forgiveness or even understanding. She just wanted Victoria to know exactly who she was marrying. The wedding was called off 12 hours before the ceremony. Sophia was serving the breakfast shift when the news broke. The diner's television showed footage of Gabriel leaving the Pemberton estate. His face grim, reporters shouting questions he didn't answer. "Serves him right," muttered Joe, one of the regular customers. "Rich boy playing games with people's lives." Sophia poured his coffee with steady hands, feeling nothing at all. The satisfaction she had expected didn't come. Instead, there was only emptiness where her heart used to be. That evening, her phone rang. Gabriel's name appeared on the screen for the first time in 6 months. She answered on the last ring. "Hello, Gabriel. You destroyed my wedding days." The voice was flat, emotionless. "You destroyed my life first." "Touché." There was a long pause. Victoria said, "You sent her everything. Every private moment between us. She deserved to know who she was marrying. And now she hates us both." Sophia felt a flicker of her old self, the woman who had loved him despite everything. "Are you calling for an apology?" "No, I'm calling to tell you that you won. My father has disowned me. The board voted to remove me as heir. I have nothing left." Good, another pause. When Gabriel spoke again, his voice was different, raw, broken. "You want to know the truth, Sophia? The real truth?" "Yes, I paid Alina to bring you to that bar. I orchestrated our meeting. But everything after that, every word, every touch, every promise that was real, I fell in love with you so completely that I was willing to give up everything for you. But you didn't. No, I didn't, because I was a coward who thought I could manipulate my way into a happy ending." He laughed bitterly. "Turns out you can't. Build love on a foundation of lies." Sophia closed her eyes, fighting against the tears that threatened to fall. "Is that all? I'm leaving tonight. I don't know where I'm going, but I can't stay here. Gabriel, I know you hate me. I know. I deserve it. But I need you to know that loving you was the only honest thing I ever did, even if everything else was a lie." The line went dead. Sophia sat in her empty apartment staring at her phone. Outside, snow was beginning to fall, covering the world. In white, she had gotten her revenge, had destroyed the man who had broken her heart. So why did she feel like she had lost everything that mattered? 2 years later, Sophia opened the door to her small cafe, breathing in the scent of fresh coffee and warm pastries. The morning sun streamed through the windows of Origami Dreams, the business she had built with her own hands and the trust fund Gabriel had left for her mother. She had tried to refuse the money, but her mother had been practical. "Pride doesn't pay medical bills," she had said. "Use his guilt money to build something beautiful." The cafe had become exactly what Sophia had always dreamed, a warm, welcoming space where truckers sat next to college students, where the lonely found conversation and the hurried found peace. She had finally found contentment, if not happiness. The bell above the door chimed. Sophia looked up from arranging pastries to see a familiar figure silhouetted against the morning light. Gabriel stood in her doorway. But he was nothing like the man she remembered. Gone were the expensive suits and polished confidence. His clothes were simple jeans and a worn leather jacket. His hair was longer, and there were lines around his eyes that spoke of hard-won wisdom. He looked like a Man who had learned the difference between having everything and being someone. "Hello, Sophia," her hands stilled on the coffee cups. "What are you doing here?" "I heard about your cafe. Congratulations. It's everything you said it would be." "I ask what you're doing here." Gabriel moved closer, his hands shoved deep in his pockets. "I've been working construction in Montana for the past 18 months. Physical labor, honest work. It's good for the soul, turns out." Despite herself, Sophia was curious. Montana? It's a small town called Cedar Ridge. Population 800. Nobody knows or cares about the Whitmore name there. He paused at the counter that separated them. "I came back because I owe you something." "Thank you." "Don't owe me anything. I owe you the truth. It's a whole truth. Not the version that makes me look better or worse than I am." Gabriel met her eyes. "I was 32 when I started noticing you at the hotel. Not 28 like I told you. Lied about my age because I thought it sounded better." Sophia blinked. Of all the confessions she had expected, this wasn't one of them. "I noticed you because you did something no one else did," Gabriel continued. "You saw me, not the money or the name or the title. When you looked at me that first night, you saw a lonely man pretending to be happy. And for the first time in my adult life, someone looked at me and saw the truth. Gabriel, I'm not done." His voice was steady, but gentle. "Everything I did was wrong. The manipulation, the lies, the cowardice. When things got difficult, but my feelings for you were never fake. I fell in love with your strength, your honesty, your refusal to be impressed by wealth. I fell in love with the way you folded napkins into origami flowers and left them on my nightstand like small gifts." Sophia's breath caught. She'd almost forgotten about those little origami flowers. "I came back to apologize," Gabriel said. "Not to ask for forgiveness, because I know I don't deserve it. Not to try to win you back, because I understand that ship has sailed. I came back to tell you that you were right to destroy my wedding, right to expose the truth. You saved Victoria from marrying someone who hadn't learned how to love honestly. Did she ever speak to you again?" Sophia found herself asking. "Once, about a year ago. She thanked me." Gabriel's smile was sad. She said, discovering the truth about us made her realize she deserved better than a marriage of convenience. She's engaged to someone she actually loves now. They stood in silence for a moment, the morning light shifting through the cafe windows. "Why construction?" Sophia asked. "Because it's real. You start with nothing, and you build something solid. You can see the results of your work at the end of every day." Gabriel looked around the cafe with genuine appreciation, like this place. "You built this with your own hands?" "And the trust fund money," Sophia admitted quietly. "You turned guilt money into something beautiful. That's not easy to do." Sophia poured 2 cups of coffee without being asked, sliding one across the counter to Gabriel. He accepted it gratefully. "You happy?" she asked. "I'm learning to be... For the first time in my life, I'm making choices based on what feels right, rather than what's expected of me." Gabriel sipped his coffee, savoring it. "This is excellent, by the way. Thank you." Sophia found herself studying his face, looking for traces of the man who had broken her heart. She found them, but they were tempered now with something that looked like peace. "What will you do now? Go back to Montana?" "I have a job with a housing nonprofit, building homes for families who need them. It's not glamorous, but it's honest work." "That sounds like you found your calling. Maybe I did." Gabriel set down his cup. "Sophia, I need you to know that what happened between us changed me. Not just the ending, but all of it. You showed me what it felt like to be loved for who I was not what I had. That gift, even though I destroyed it, made me want to become someone worthy of that kind of love." Sophia felt tears prick at her eyes. "Gabriel, I know we can never go back. I know too much damage was done. But I needed you to know that you didn't just destroy my old life. You also made my new one possible." The bell chimed again as the first. Customers of the day began to arrive. Sophia glanced at the clock, realizing she needed to open properly. "I should go," Gabriel said, reading her expression. "Thank you for the coffee and for listening." He was halfway to the door when Sophia's voice stopped him. "Gabriel." He turned back, hope flickering in his green eyes. "I forgive you," she said. "Simply, not for your sake, but for mine. I've been carrying anger for 2 years, and I'm tired of the weight. Gabriel's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, and Gabriel, I'm glad you found honest work. Suits you better than those expensive suits ever did. Smiled then, a real smile that reached his eyes. Take care of yourself, Sophia Chen. You deserve every happiness this world has to offer. Gabriel walked out into the morning sunshine, and Sophia watched him go. She felt something shift inside her chest. Not love that was gone, but something like closure, something like peace. Her first customer approached the counter, a regular who came in every morning for black coffee and a blueberry muffin. Who was that? Mrs. Patterson asked with undisguised curiosity. Someone from my past, Sophia replied, turning to the espresso machine. Looked like he was carrying some heavy baggage. Sophia pulled the first shot of the day, watching the dark liquid flow into the cup. We all are, Mrs. Patterson. But sometimes we learn to set it down. That evening, after closing the cafe, Sophia sat at her kitchen table and wrote a letter she had been composing in her mind for months. It was to Alina, the friend who had betrayed her but who had also been trapped in Gabriel's web of manipulation. She wrote about forgiveness and second chances. She wrote about understanding that people make mistakes when they're desperate or scared. She wrote about the cafe and her mother's improving health and the small, quiet life she had built for herself. She sealed the letter and put it in her mailbox to be sent the next morning. 6 months later, Alina called. I got your letter, she said through tears. I've been carrying guilt for 3 years, Sophia. I didn't think I deserved your forgiveness. We all deserve second chances, Sophia replied. The question is what we do with them. They talked for 2 hours, rebuilding a friendship that had been shattered by secrets and lies. It wasn't the same as before trust. Once broken, always bears scars, but it was something new and honest. Alina was working as a teacher now. Having left the hotel industry entirely, she had met someone, a kind man who taught high school math and coached Little League baseball. She sounded happy. Do you ever wonder about Gabriel? Alina asked near the end of their conversation. Sophia looked out her apartment window at the cafe below, its windows glowing warm against the evening darkness. Sometimes she admitted, I hope he's well. I hope he's building something beautiful with his life. Do you think you'll ever love someone else? It was a question Sophia had asked herself many times. The answer was always the same. I don't. No, maybe when I'm ready. She paused. But I've learned that loving myself is enough for now. 2 days later, a package arrived at the cafe with no return address. Inside was a small wooden bird, carved with obvious care and skill. Its wings were spread as if in flight, and every feather was detailed with patient precision. There was no note, but Sophia knew who had sent it. She placed the bird on the windowsill behind the espresso machine, where the morning light would catch its wings. She thought about the origami flowers she used to fold, about the way small gestures could carry enormous meaning. This wooden bird felt like closure, like forgiveness, like a blessing on the life she had chosen to build. Sophia served coffee and pastries, listened to customers' stories, and watched the seasons change through her cafe windows. She dated occasionally a teacher, a veterinarian, a carpenter who reminded her a little too much of someone she used to know, but nothing serious developed. She was content with her independence, with the business she had built, the life she had chosen. One morning in spring, exactly 3 years after Gabriel's visit, Sophia was arranging flowers in a vase when she noticed something. Without thinking, she had folded the discarded stems into a small origami crane. She smiled and set it next to the wooden bird on the windowsill. Some habits die hard, she thought. But sometimes that's not such a bad thing. The sun streamed through her cafe windows, illuminating the crane and the bird together, symbols of the past and the future, of forgiveness and hope, of love lost and wisdom gained. Sophia Chen had finally learned the difference between a fairy tale and a real story. Fairy tales ended with happily ever after. Real stories ended with the quiet satisfaction of a life well lived, heart that had learned to love itself, and the knowledge that sometimes the most profound happiness comes not from getting everything you want, but from becoming everything you were meant to be. she opened her cafe to the morning customers, ready for whatever story the new day would bring. The end.